Everyone, you are watching the Sound of Spirit podcast, and today my guest, and I'm incredibly excited about this, my guest is Alex Fredericks, and he's the creator of Tonewell, and it is an amazing way to read your um, voice. Is that correct? Why don't I let you go ahead
God,
and tell them about it? Because when I first heard about this, I was blown away, and your background in music really makes a lot of sense with how this developed. So why don't you go ahead and just let them know a little bit more about you?
well, I love being here with you today, Mika. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So, as you were saying, Tonewell uses a 30-second voice file clip, and we then run it against our static database of about 100,000 data points and extrapolate 1,000 plus biomarkers that we then turn into a wellness report for our customers. One of the beauties of your voice is that at all times you are projecting your nervous system and your physiology. So it makes a very accurate reading of what's happening with you now, completely frictionless and non-invasive. So it works using your phone, hence no friction, and non-invasive, no blood, no urine, no hair pulled, no cheek swab. No, it's it's a really wonderfully accurate way to understand what's happening with you in real time without having to go through all of the hassle of, the diagnostic that we all have used in the past.
And it's really fascinating because I was blessed to have you do an actual report for me, which we'll talk about later
Mm-hmm.
on in this interview. Um, how fast you were able to pick up that information. I mean, it was literally
Yeah.
right away that you sent that information back to me, and it was incredibly in depth. And it does make sense because we're vibration, and that's one of the things that science and spirituality is agreeing on now. And so it makes sense that since everything vibrates at a frequency, that you should be able to get more data from that information. So why don't
Mm-hmm.
you tell us how you came about to even kind of start looking
Sure.
into this?
So as you had said earlier, um, my background is in music, though I don't play anything or profess to be an artist in that sense. When I was very young, I had an exceedingly hard time reading. So I'm very dyslexic and repeated third grade and really just didn't want to do that ever again. So I started paying attention, which helps you get through school. Most people tell you what they want you to know. And at the same time, I dug into my sister's record collection. I have three older sisters, and they have a vast difference in what they like to listen to. So I started using music as a way to communicate, vocabulary, telling stories, keeping up with things. And that led me, when I was in college, I found a band that I was able to kind of take to the heights of their abilities. And inside of that, I became an engineer and a record producer, though I've done a myriad of things in the business after that. It's kind of how I kind of cut my teeth. And when I used to mix records in the late 80s and early 90s, there was something called an oscilloscope that would sit on the mix desk, which looks just like a round circle with a plus symbol in it, and running through that would be an infinity symbol. And when the symbol was all out of context and fuzzy, you would say so. You would say to somebody, "It's out of phase." So you would begin to start at the bottom of your frequency stack, and you would go all the way up through. So you start at your kick drum and your bass, and you make it through the cymbals and the guitar and the singer's voice and all of that stuff until you found the thing that was fighting with itself. And then the infinity symbol would be really nice and smooth. And you would say, well, everything's in phase. And you would continue your mix down and off to the races you go. So when I recognized I wasn't going to be the president of Columbia Records or something of that nature, I went into hardcore consumable products, skincare, cosmetics, fragrance, vitamins, supplements. And along the line, when I left the agency world in about 2018, I had moved into what was the green revolution, and that became organic, and then organic became wellness. And in that, I was something super complicated. Let's bring it to Alex. Alex can simplify it for an audience. We can get to an audience, capture the audience, grow, sell the product. And fast forward a couple of years after leaving the agency world as like an independent consultant person, I'm working in the wellness tech space with a PEMF company. Now, PEMF uses waveform as a modality for recovery and for better health. And what this company specialized in, because they were actually a medical device, was using waveform and frequency to combat Lyme's disease, autoimmune disease, and really heavy things that people were dealing with. Not like my neck hurts or I'm in a bad mood because there's a new moon, which also they do,
Right.
but really very hardcore medical science using waveform and frequency. What makes that interesting is most PEMF companies are what I call an amplitude device, meaning they hit you as hard as they humanly can hit you with something so that you feel it and you believe, though it does work, you believe that something's happening because you feel like you're getting electrocuted every time it hits.
Right.
What this company did, and the reason that is because your body recognizes waveform, and after a while, it's like, well, I've had enough of that, and essentially turns itself off to being receptive.
Mm-hmm.
So what this company does, they're called Amp Coil, really brilliant, is they figured out how to change the waveform, literally the shape of the wave that was coming at you, so that they could, one, build better modality for your opportunity. How do I help cure, fix, replenish, what have you? Mm-hmm. And the frequencies that were bundled in that. So recognize that if you have a cold or a virus or a flu, you might want to affect that a little bit differently than if you have candida or yeast or autoimmune disease, and you would want to do it differently than if like your lower lumbar or your meniscus was hurting you, right? Like gotcha. There are different things that need to happen in all of those. So in having a conversation with their science guys, I said, wow, this is fascinating. I understood it because I understand waveform and frequency, hence the music business. Right. And I said, well, if you're coming down the street in one direction, how do we go back up the street? What I meant by that was, you're feeding me a signal and frequency, so therefore could you read a signal and frequency and tell me what it correlates to? And they said, yes, of course. 30 plus years of science doing that. You've gotten into devices like CT scans and MRIs and CAT scans, and they're using frequency and reading what's coming back and mapping, what that looks like. So I said, wow, that's wonderful. And they said, but we don't do that. And my answer was, yes, but I will, and we're going to do this together. So that was the genesis, Tonewell. And then about 18 months of working with each other and coming what a report should look like, and using peer reviews and white papers and clinical trials that existed in other companies and, the NIH and all of the published work. We came out with what is our now, what I said, static database earlier. Mm-hmm. So we use computer learning. I use big form computer learning to digest a myriad of information and come up with what our equation is inside of wellness using super well-established frequency charts, like Wilhelm Reich, very famous frequency person who coined the word orgon, which is what he calls ether, the energy that's around you, mapped in the 1930s the frequencies that affect your body. And this was well before he was attacked by the government and put in jail for being a communist, which he wasn't. Different story over there. But if you then map that against like what John Hopkins is saying or Harvard is saying or the CDC or the NIH or what have you, you can then begin to build your own equations, and those equations are what we built Tonewell on. And then from there, bringing it into the marketplace, my notion is very simple. I think the world is drowning in data, and I still think that people come up super short with simple things like, why don't I feel well? Why don't I function well? Absolutely. Because data isn't really an answer. It's points on a map somewhere. Mm-hmm. So what we really do with Tonewell, we're medical adjacent. I'm not trying to tell you what's wrong with you. I'm trying to tell you what's going on with you. They're different. So what's going on with you are the things you can affect. Like you can't argue how somebody tells you how they feel. Can't argue that. What you can do is begin to help them see it differently or have better outcome, have a better relationship. And then what we do with Tonewell is help people build a better relationship with themselves. So what I mean by that is we have categories. There are 8 of them, how we present stuff, things like hydration, sleep, stress, inflammation, pathogens. And if you were to understand that your sleep isn't like this amorphous thing, it could be you're low in magnesium glycinate. Take this before you go to bed. Leave the pharmaceutical over there. You don't have the basic building block that your body needs to accomplish X, Y, Z. I'm having digestion issues. Take a probiotic. But maybe it's also something as simple as, I don't know, a bitter herb, or scraping your tongue so your mouth rebuilds enzymes, or going for a walk. It doesn't have to be, I take XYZ product, which kind of goes to something that you had said a few minutes earlier, which is there was a point that like the naturopathic, the holistic, and the medicine doctor were all in one. They were divided and bifurcated in the early teens by the Rockefeller Foundation, mostly because they wanted to sell you more petroleum. Like 90-something% of all pharmaceuticals have a petroleum base.
Interesting.
So when you say, hey, I want to sell more of this, somebody else says, well, you got to get rid of that. So we've been kind of separated from ourselves, which is why I say I want to help people build a better relationship with themselves. Our goal with Tonewell and our company, like I said, we're not here to tell you what's wrong. We're here to tell you how you can be empowered so that you can have a better relationship with you. And that is based in science. That is based in, these are the things that we see happening. But, you know, like, it's not my job in the world to crush you. It's kind of the job to lift. So
absolutely,
that's what we do.
Yeah, and I love that because, again, it's not just identifying there's the problem. I noticed in the report there's suggestions, there's also solutions. They're saying if you did this, this would improve this. And again, like you said, the whole goal of this is not to tell you doom, doom. No, this is what's identifying what's going on, and here's how you can fix it. And that's exactly how I even do my tarot readings.
Exactly.
And I love not just your enthusiasm about it, but I can feel your passion and how you did the research and how this really did impact you in a way where it probably even changed you.
So it's funny, like I was a philosophy major in college. I actually left my sophomore year because it was just more interesting to go tour bands. So believe me, when I start having conversations with people, I'm not a doctor. I'm not, like, what I am is a person that can understand the problem set that's in front of me. I have a business partner who is a doctor. The guys that develop the science are hardcore scientists. I'm the Pied Piper. I'm the guy that's bringing it through the town, you know what I mean? So in that, our reports, as you were just alluding to, and I appreciate that, like, we make them simple. I give you a top 5. Now, I think I sent you the raw data. It's like a very long list of stuff. But it's not going to serve you anything. So what we do is we break it into like the top 5. We color code it red, yellow, green. Pretty straightforward. Green is good. I always tell people something that's good with them. You should always start with, hey, how are you? It's great to meet you. And then we go with yellow. These are the things that should be on your radar. Keep an eye out for them. But here's red. Full stop, right? Full stop. Red light. Stop. Address this. We do a 1-day, 3-day, 10-day forecast. Morning, noon, night. If in the next 10 days you can take your time, it's not me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you. I'm suggesting, and we are, as a company, again, rooted in hardcore science. So we're not guessing here, but we're telling you that if you want to feel better, you might want to start with these things. They're red. They're glaring. They're sticking out. Most of our report is based upon what are called outliers. They are not where they are supposed to be. If I walked into your room, and I believe that's like a ukulele behind you off your left shoulder, and that wasn't hanging there, you go, hey, where is that thing? It's an outlier, right? So that's how we work. We're showing you it's not in the right place, and it's not I love blood. I love urine. That sounded horrible to say.
Blood and urine.
And I'm German all. And I don't mean to discount anything else. It's really not who I am. But what I need people to understand about blood is that you went to the doctor, doc, I'm not feeling well. Let's get some tests going for you. You schedule a meeting at Quest Diagnostic or whomever is your phlebotomist, blood taker. You go there, they draw blood. By the way, your cortisol's probably spiked, but that's a different conversation. They take the blood, they send it to the lab. The lab does the thing. They report it back to the doctor. When the doctor has time in their schedule, they call you and they report to you what they're seeing. Now, that's called a diagnostic. They are diagnosing for you what they see because it's so far removed from the day that you walked into the office and the time the blood was taken. And oh, by the way, your blood cycles every 3 minutes through your eyes, let alone every couple hours through your whole body. It's changed because of what you've eaten, how you've that by the I can only tell you, you have diabetes, you have lung disease, you have, God forbid, cancer. Like, I can only tell you these things because I can't tell you what's happening now. So where voice also changes, first thing in the morning, 5 cups of coffee later, big steak dinner, went to a basketball game, got all excited. Of course, your voice changes.
Sure.
So what it doesn't change, though, is the snapshot of now, which is why I can have a conversation about how somebody feels, which is also very much about wavelength and frequency. Like, so when I talk to people on a large scale, I always start with, in the beginning, there was the word. It's how the Bible begins, so that you recognize that everything is spoken into creation.
Yes.
And if you're created in the image of your creator, that means that your voice has an enormous amount of power. Not just mindset of how I speak about myself, very important, how I see myself and project myself to the world, very important, but it is carrying you, literally you, out into the world. So it's not that far-fetched. If you've ever experienced anything that was serendipitous, like you thought of the person and they showed up. When I was a kid, I used to know the phone would ring before it would ring, and I'd walk over and pick it up, and it would drive my family crazy. There's a reason that I went into the music business, legitimately, because I could feel the frequency coming at me. So I just picked up the phone before the bell did this. The frequency was still coming this way.
Yeah.
It just didn't make the bell do that yet.
You could,
it's the
same. That's beautiful. I love that.
These are all the same drivers and notions, right? We just play with them differently. If you've ever said to somebody, I don't have the bandwidth, what are you really saying to them?
Yeah.
I can look from here to here, and you're over there or over there. I don't have the bandwidth. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Frequency, right? So like,
even I think you were saying tone. Don't why are you taking that tone with me?
Yeah. Better watch your tone when you talk to me. You're like, oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. How do I change my tone? Which is my favorite thing ever in modernity is like when somebody tells me they don't like my tone in a text. I love that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Those are flat words. Oh, you want my tone? I'll call you.
Because the tone is basically in a text how you're receiving it. So now it's your frequency that is mixed into that. Yeah. So,
right. Maybe you should take a breath because I just wrote.
So are you saying that? Because we did this report when we first met about a week or so ago, maybe a little more than that. Are you saying if we were to run something differently now, something different may show up because it is a real-time report?
So on many levels, yes, and on many levels, no. The things that are no are the things that you are deficient in.
Okay.
Because you're deficient in them. The things that are yes might be your priorities.
Okay.
Right? So like, think about this. If you look at your schedule, you prioritize what you're doing in the day. And that could shift because, like, for example, we were supposed to do this a couple of days ago. You weren't feeling great. You had to realign your priorities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So on that level, yeah. On the base level, absolutely not. Because unless, like, magnesium's a great example. I use it all the time, mostly because I have to take magnesium glycinate. So I just use it as a first person example. Mm-hmm. Unless you like supersize somehow your magnesium, then like
it's not gonna change, right? That makes sense. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the sleep problem is the sleep problem. Now, could you have had a good night of sleep last night? Yeah, of course. Does that mean that the long enough board of your sleep has changed? No, probably not. It's probably the same problem. Like maybe it's your glycinate, maybe it's your boron, maybe whatever. Like I don't produce great, like I'm not a GABA receptor person, and your GABA receptor is the thing that really moves melatonin and like I have a, so you're like, that's not instantly going to switch itself back on. But the priority of the day, totally. Like, maybe I'm feeling a little bit better because I got rid of the bug I had, or yesterday I got off an airplane and there was a kid coughing behind me. Hydration's a great one. Like I just got off 2 airplanes and I'm dehydrated. Yeah, no kidding. You went up and down in a little, capsule that they super pressurize. Like, you might want to drink more water,
Yeah, that is so fascinating. And so if someone were to opt in to a session, is that what, am I calling that correctly? Sure. Or are you okay?
Yeah, I'll buy that.
You so what does that look like? I mean, I know we just did something virtual, and I imagine that's pretty much how you do a lot of your clients and meet with a lot of your.
So the way that we really work is a couple fold. Well, first and foremost, I'll say my business is kind of split like enterprise and direct to consumer. So let's do direct to consumer first.
Okay.
So if you're interested in knowing what's happening with you, you've gone to tonewell.co and you've bought your scan, and we don't ask any questions. Like legitimately, we're not a data company in the sense of like, I'm not trying to collect your information.
Gotcha.
I ask 4 basic questions: first name, last name, email, phone number. That way we can get in touch.
Yeah.
So you bought your bundle, you bought your package. We currently only have a 1 and a 3. 1 are mostly what men do, not to be sexist here, but most guys are like, give me the answer, I go do it, I come back. And then we offer a 3. We offer a 3 for women, mostly because women are interested in their hormones and other things. So you might want to do one at the end of your cycle, in the middle of the month, and then right before your cycle. But let's just, all things being equal, you bought your package, you paid through Stripe, which is our processor. You'll get an SMS from us, frictionless. You hit the SMS, you go up into the cloud, you talk for 30 seconds. It takes 25 seconds for our processor to process. It then goes through our workflow, our automatic workflow. It creates the template report and an infograph that get bundled into an email, and within 5 minutes you have your outcome, right?
Wow.
5 minutes is actually because we slowed it down. I know that sounds silly, but it's no, seriously, when we first started doing this, and like you have to do focus groups, and like just as a business person, you did focus groups and blah blah blah.
Research,
people are like, it's so fast, I can't believe that's accurate. So like the difference between 3 minutes and 5 minutes makes a difference for you. Okay, cool. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Difference between 3 minutes and 10 minutes makes a difference. Oh,
yeah.
Fine by us. Like an egg timer, and go, whatever, right? So that's typically how we operate. You get our report. It's between 7 and 9 pages, really depending upon what we see. You get an infograph so you can look at it. Most people like to look at things first.
Yeah.
Or they really begin to read. And then from there, again, since I'm not a medical professional, nor do I play one on TV, nor do I actually run a, like what I typically end up doing is I do a reference, which goes to the second part of our business. Like we have a ton of practitioners and modality people, and they understand what we're doing. I'll send them the raw data. Go talk to such and such, a hormone specialist, a Reiki healer, whatever your thing is. Right. Go, right? But what we do is I supply the raw data to anybody that wants it. I'm not a gatekeeper that way. That's not our IP. I'm not giving away any state secrets.
Right.
And a lot of people have used that data interactively with like their LLMs, with their AI chatbots, right? Because some people are like, well, I just got my blood test, or I have an HRV monitor, or I wear a Whoop or an Aura, whatever. It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
And here's more analysis for you. Now, what's interesting in our analysis is that we're not an output device. And what I mean by that is a wearable is pure output. it's only telling you you're not sleeping. It's not telling you why you're not sleeping.
Right. I see
It's,
what you mean. Yeah.
it's only telling you how many calories you burned, not why those calories were burned.
Right.
We are more of like an input monitor. So when you put those things together, you have a far more holistic picture of yourself. So typically what you get from us, to answer the question, is like, here's the report, here's the way we're looking at it. We're happy to engage secondarily. I'm happy to make referrals. I answer any question. Like, for example, I had a woman that we did a report for, and she wrote me back very specifically, hey, could you tell me what this means for our hormones? Now, granted, my email had a very nice disclaimer written into it, like, I am not. But yeah, I took her information and I went back into our process device very specifically. Woman, I put her age in, which I won't share here because even though I won't give her name, still rude to say her name, to say her age. And I sent her back what we saw as the output, because sure, it's my pleasure to do that, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we're very concierge that way. Like, there's no, the mystery is not like, what can I keep from you? It's the, how did you do that?
Right. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you how I did it. You're going to have to go spend the 10 years of research to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that's our, special sauce. That's our secret sauce. That's the thing that, so everything else is like, how do you engage with somebody, right? Like, how do you make a difference for somebody that they might be able to see it? So one of the really, for me, interesting things is like the physiology. You'd be amazed. We can see all of your muscles. Like, you'd be amazed the things that you can show somebody with a voice. So when I send something back and it's like, yeah, your left shoulder hurts or whatever, and people say, wow, how did you know that? I don't actually know anything. You're the person broadcasting this.
Right.
And we're just showing it.
Yeah.
But since you're clearly aware that your left shoulder does hurt, not a hard thing, like, ow, right? And I'm pointing that out to you. And then in the chain over here, it says, hey, maybe do X, Y, Z. Maybe do this, and don't just live with the pain. Then it clicks for folks that they can do something for themselves.
Yes.
And that's the power of it. So like, if when you read tarot for somebody, like, they're cutting the cards.
Yeah.
They're picking the cards.
Yeah.
You are interpreting, like, I'm a translation layer. You are interpreting for them the choices that they just made. Yeah. Now, what people don't understand about cards is that the reason there are 52 of them is because you will never, ever shuffle the deck the same way in your life, period. End the conversation. It's a factoral. 52 times until you get all the way down. So you're actually pulling your uniqueness. You could say stop at any time, right? And like, that's I didn't choose them. You chose them. I presented it in front of you. So we have 100,000 things that we look at, but you're the input device. Right. I'm not telling you that you're it's your input that's saying stop. Right. So what we share with people is a better understanding of who they are, predicated by them. Again, I am not an anti-Western medicine human being. I am not telling you don't go to doctors. It's not my spiel. Sure. What I am saying, though, is that you have the power to be more empowered to make decisions in your life that will predicate how you go through this world, and therefore being more informed. Then you don't have to just be a yes machine to the person telling you what they want to do for you. And you're like, right? And that's
empowerment. I love that. Yeah.
So it's so important, right? Like, we live in these crazy times of like endless opportunity, but still yet everybody falls in line. And I'm not a chaos theory person either, but I will tell you that you're allowed to say no. It's the most powerful word in the English language. It's super short too. It's like that long. No, totally. As long as you mean it, because you know why you're saying no.
Yeah, exactly. And it only has to be those two letters. It doesn't have to be an explanation of anything.
Nope. It doesn't have. And honestly, the second you start explaining it, the less power it has.
Gosh, that is so true. And I love that so much. And I think that's the most beautiful part of Tonewell for me, is that, and why it falls so in line with this podcast, not just because you know, we're a music producer and I make music and all of that, but because it's about empowering people to make the choice. At least go into these meetings with these people with information. So you're accepting what's being handed to you.
You have to be your own advocate.
Yeah.
You have to be your own advocate. If you are not, if you don't have agency, which is control over your own situation, if you're not your own advocate, so in the marketing world, when I used to do that, you'd say to people, advocates equal equity, meaning the more people that you have advocating for you, the better off you'll be in the marketplace. Yeah. So the same is true for yourself, right? So as a music person, again, another example I use all the time. Like we've all put on a piece of music and the hair on our arm stands up.
Oh, yes.
Well, what's actually happening there is resonation. It is legitimately resonating with you and making your cells do this, right? And therefore it's causing a chain reaction that makes the hair stand up.
Yeah.
It's a physical reaction to a metaphysical opportunity.
That's right? So beautiful. Yeah, because I've even had a thought that has brought that reaction too. So it's like
something
internal that can like just.
But thoughts are as much of an electric pulse as music coming at you.
Oh,
like if you've ever put on like a QEEG and done like brain mapping, you recognize that my circuits aren't firing. Well, the circuits that are firing are creating all of this, space that we're in. I think we had this conversation when we spoke previously, like I'm sitting on a laptop that's not connected to anything.
Yes.
Seriously, nothing. Yeah. I'm talking into a microphone connected to the laptop, not connected to anything. So it means there's no driver as a music guy. There's no driver in the microphone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
However, this is happening in real time. We're having a real conversation where I'm getting it in real time. You're getting it in real time. It's being filmed.
Yeah, we're in other states, so we're receiving.
Yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania. You're in Nevada. Yeah. So therefore, it's Schrodinger's cat, which means it's either happening or it's not happening. It's always happening or it's never happening at the exact same moment, which means that like if you turn on YouTube and there's a video and you're watching the video in real time and you get to hit pause, that means that frequency is always there. Right. It's just being translated into the little box that you're watching it in.
That's
right? So then like everything else is plausible. So the way you think about yourself, like if you can see it, you can be it. Hate fake it till you make it means you're always going to be a fraud.
Yeah, always. I agree. I'm not a fan of faking anything.
But if you can see it, you can be it. Yeah. Means that you be like, that's why some dreams are so real, because it's like, dude, you were there. You just got to figure out how to take it from here and put it over there. And
that falls in line with the multiple realities, or how everything is happening. We talked about that too, how we're on the surface of everything. And that's what frequency is. You're
all the time
resonating with whatever this thing is that you're experiencing physically.
Yeah, I mean, look, the choices you make limit the choices you have, both good and bad, right? Like good choices, I get more good choices. Bad choices, good choices start going away. I'm doing this, right? Yeah. So that's like the choose your own adventure, was a, that's
my favorite book series when I was a kid.
Right, exactly. Choose your own adventure. All I have to do is fill in the adjective and the verb, and all of a sudden the entire story changed, right? Yeah. But that's choice. So back to like my voice, when I get angry, the pitch goes up. When I don't feel well, the resonator, the dobro that is my chest has a different resonation. The vagus nerve that runs right here, like those are all connected to your brainstem that's right behind you, which is your nervous system. Like this, your heart's here, your brain's here. Like everything else is just a device to move these
all, exactly, to make sure that, that's honestly a simple way to look at it, and it brings things to almost layman where we can kind of understand that in more specific terms,
Yeah, everything else is just like, it's just, not to be crass, but it's just a meat sack.
Yeah, that's exactly, I call it a meat sack.
You know what I mean? It's just the thing moving it through time, through this physical space.
Yeah, I love that. Oh. That's so cool. Like that literally just gave me the chills. But that's so true. Like,
it's why it's all possible. It's why, so I'm a startup guy. I'm raising capital right now. I'm doing all those things. And Yeah, I'm in my 50s. Who wants to start a startup in their 50s? But like to your point, like I'm passionate about this. I had like that chocolate and peanut butter moment where like two things just crashed together. And like, wow, this is so much better than what they were separate. I gotta go do this.
Yeah.
I have to go do this. And the reason for that, for me, is that like not only do I understand it, obviously, but it's like there are these opportunities. What do you leave behind? What's the legacy? What is the reason for your engagement here? I am not like, I wasn't put on this earth to collect shit.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
you know, I'm not like, I'm born and raised in New York City and I happen to live out in the Philly suburbs and I'm still a one car guy.
Yeah.
Like my wife and I share a car because I don't need to. I really don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Totally.
you know what I mean? Like I understand that I don't. And I particularly don't need 5 of them. And I particularly don't need.
Yeah.
What I need to do though is something that's meaningful. And I think that that's where a lot of frequency for everybody comes in. It's like, where do you plug in? What is the thing that's doing it for you?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you can measure that in any way, shape, or form, I'm measuring it in wellness. Right. But if you can measure that in how moving people forward or what else that you want to do, like that's the whole, I think that's the whole point of this, which is why like the choices you make on the multiverse, it matters. There's a version of me out there that's some fat cat doing something I'd be embarrassed about saying.
Yeah. With a pink ring.
Me. I actually know that the choices that I made in this version of me purposely eliminated that. And I don't mean that in any bad way.
It's about you, your perspective, what matters for
I had
you.
plenty in the music business when I was an executive, I had plenty of opportunities to make choices that would have ruined other people's lives, would have made my life great. Personally, seriously, real talk.
I'm sure.
Like, well, I can get them to sign that contract and I own everything. But I, this version of me, isn't that person. So I didn't do that, and I did this. So when I say I wasn't going to be the president of Columbia Records, I'm not joking. I just woke up one day and went, oh man, I put myself over there and not that, I'm out. Peace. Yeah, totally. Like I'm not going to go shoot. Yep. Good. Awesome. I've been to 50 countries. I've worked with really cool people. Out the door.
But
right?
I really want that over there. So
sure.
Yeah, totally.
And it's not. Yeah, so like, it is what it is. And that's the fun thing about understanding that you live on a wave. Right? Like that's what we're doing.
Man, it's so cool just hearing you talk about this is so exciting to remember that, because sometimes you can get lost in the shit that's right in front of you and you forget that it's all just energy. It's all just frequency. And if you can remember that, you can get back on the wave you want to be on instead of the wave you were on. Like I literally the past week have had some real big realizations because I'm actively doing releasing and shadow work and things like that so that I can free up my frequency.
Oh God, yeah. You have to.
Noticeable instantly, like when you clean that shit up and it changes things that show up in your world.
Absolutely. I still work for a living. I still work for a living, right? Because I'm not going to take from my own business. I'm trying to grow. So I have a business over here that pays me, whatever. And I do a lot of coaching and stuff like that. And I forever use the analogy of the rear view and the windshield with people, simply meaning the rear view mirror is the size that it is for a reason. It's so that you see that the object doesn't catch you. I've left it behind me, and it's cool enough every couple seconds to look up and just make sure it's still behind me.
Remember that it's back there. Yep.
Live through the windshield. What's in front of you, right? So like the ability to let things go or just put it down or recognize you don't longer need it. Like I carried it for a while. I totally thought I needed it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
like
man. Totally.
Like I used to be a smoker, and I used to always have a lighter in my pocket. And like everybody I knew for 30 years knew that. And I was out to dinner in New York a couple weeks ago with a friend of mine. He's like, dude, you got a lighter? I was like, no. And he just looked at me like, what? I was like, dude, I quit smoking years ago. But it took me years to get the lighter out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Stupid thing to say, but now it's just one less thing.
Yeah.
So like, I also recognize that like, if you want to be a big wave surfer, you actually need to be moving. Because if you're waiting for that wave to come to you, when it does, you're actually just going to go bloop, bloop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you ever watch anybody in the ocean, you crest and you didn't go anywhere and the wave went past you. So when you see the wave, you guys start paddling as hard as you can so that your momentum matches its momentum, which is the other thing about people like waiting for their opportunity or I had an idea, but I didn't do anything about it. You're like, well, you think the universe is like, oh, Alex is special. No, there's 8 billion of us.
Just pour it all over you.
Right. It's like, no, but it does say, wow, Alex is pedaling his ass off right now. I'm going to give him a glorious wave with a tube to ride, and it's going to be awesome. And that's his wave. The other person went, bloop, bloop.
Yeah.
Bloop, bloop. Like, you know what I mean? So like that's
love these
the whole opportunity.
They are just really making so much sense. You know, you got to be moving. And honestly, like just in my own life, it makes sense waiting around for that right opportunity and now seeing movement in a way that's different because I'm moving with it. And that, God, it's just so perfect.
The best feeling in the world that I've had professionally, was I spent a whole bunch of time hoping that an opportunity would become true. And then after realizing it, like, dude, I have no control of it. So I'm going to go do my thing.
Yeah.
And this was years ago, that when the phone rang from that person, I was like, nah, dude, I'm not there any longer.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. And they were so, first off, they were happy for me, which I will appreciate. And we're still friends to this day, but they were so confused by the fact that I just didn't wait around. Like, bro, I got one shot at this. This is, I'm not a past life person. I don't disbelieve it, but I believe this is first time on rock, first time moving through. Hope I get it right. Don't plan to be back. Adios. So like and we all know how crazy the world is. How much time do you have? I can tell you that I think we had this conversation when we last spoke. Like I was at 9/11 and I made a choice that changed my life. I lived in Hoboken, New Jersey at the time. I was walking towards the PATH station. I was supposed to go to a meeting at Cantor Fitzgerald, and my roommate at the time had left his wallet, and I was like, dude, I'll just sit here and smoke a cigarette. No big deal. Like, I'll just be right here. Now, I'm not the fluffiest pillow on the bed, so I could have very easily said to him, no, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
But we were beautiful, sunny September morning. He's one of my dearest friends in the world. I was like, yeah, dude, whatever. I'll sit here. We were like 3 blocks from my house. I was like, yeah, I'll be right here. He went and got his wallet, came back. We walked the thing. And when we turned the corner, I saw the first plane hit. Now, if I had made a different choice at that moment, I would have been under the World Trade Center in the PATH train.
Oh,
it's that simple. Now, I was not aware of the choice I was making. It wasn't this conscious, life-altering cigarette stay. It was just an arbitrary choice of rather having a cool conversation with my roommate that we were having and not having to walk the last 10 blocks by myself. Right. And that simple of a choice made all of the difference. It's the Robert Frost, and I came upon a road on a snowy night, and I chose the one less traveled, and that made all of the difference. It is those little things that make the difference. And that's why, like, people that don't engage in their own life, don't find their own frequency, don't ride their own wave. You just kind of scratch your head and you're like, oh, you think it's going to show up and invite you? There's no invite, man. You crack the punch. Seriously,
you got to save yourself is another thing I've learned the hard way as well. Again,
nobody's coming. I'm a Generation X person, and there's a motto. I don't know where my book is. Yes. No one's coming to save you.
Yes, I'm a Gen Xer too, and
no one is coming to save you, and that's not actually a bad thing. That's not a woe is me doomsday thing. It simply means go do it.
Yes,
because people will join you on the road. They will.
Yeah.
I just don't want to argue with you down in the ditch.
Yes. Oh God, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're on the road. We're travelers. You get a, hey, how are you? Oh, you need a drink of water? Oh, I got an extra one of those.
Yeah.
All day, every day. but
Yeah.
I ain't coming down into the dirt and the ditch. I ain't saving you, dude.
Oh man, no way. Yeah,
You
no,
know, like,
that realization alone can change your life. Honestly, once you accept
yeah,
it, your awareness will catch on. And even if you have the trouble, because you might have some stuff changing beliefs and habits, your awareness won't let it get off the rails, because that's the one beautiful thing I've clung to. Is I've had a lot of stuff I've had to reprogram and things come up, but my awareness lets me know, nah, man, we're not going there again.
yeah, I'm good.
No,
I've,
man.
I've, I've seen that one. You know what I mean? I've seen that one.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
and like for me, so like obviously my background was in music, and like I put a lot of product in the world, and as soon as I came across this what is now Tonewell, I said to myself, what are you waiting on? Like what like somebody else is going to do it. By the way, there are competitors. They're doing it totally differently. They're using it as an aptitude score for employers. Like I that ain't my gig. Like they're rating you, you know, like that's not my thing. I want to help people empower themselves and make their own decisions. And as soon as like I've been doing this forever. I've been putting people's product into the world. And like I said earlier, like I take super complicated things and make them easy to digest. And you're a such and such, you should have a fragrance. Why don't you have a gene company? Like, cool, I'll go figure that out. Oh, I know how to call that person. Do you know them? No, but I'll know them in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
what's
love
up?
that. Yeah, that's
I
that
represent
fire.
big name XYZ. You know what I mean? Like, may rest in peace, but one of my dear friends, Oliver Grant, known as Power from Wu-Tang, and he and I were very dear friends, and may he rest in peace. He passed 2 months ago. But you know, we were in LA one day, and I said to him, and that's Power from Wu-Tang. Like,
Yeah.
he is Wu-Tang, you know what I mean? And I was like him, RZA and Divine started the whole thing. Beautiful Jamaican guy. And I said to him, yo, what made you think you guys could do this? And he said, nobody told me I couldn't. That was his answer. It was that. It was that. Like, nobody told me I couldn't. And the second part of probably would have been, and I wasn't going to listen anyway.
Yeah.
But
right. It's a
you know what I mean? But like that. But that's meaningful. Like that's how your life should be. Now, I'm a clean up after yourself, do no harm.
Yeah.
You know, I'll also leave you where you stand if we go that way. But like the idea isn't like what's mine. It's like what can you create? And that's frequency. Yeah. That's wavelength. That's harmonic. Like if you play piano, you recognize that there's like the chords, and then they multiply out to 88 keys, right? But they're the same things replicated, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
So you should recognize that that's the pattern that is, you know, the octave, and that's all we are is some sort of octave, some sort of wavelength frequency that's coming together that allows me to speak, that allows me to hear, that allows me to touch. And right, that allows
speech suit, like you said, yeah,
man,
yeah, man, that's so cool. Oh, you got me freaking fired up right now. Seriously,
I'm glad.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, I would check this out because I don't know if we'll have time to get into this summary that we talked about, but to hell with it, because honestly, this was one of the best interviews I've had. But here's a copy of the report, and it definitely is some pages, and it talks about, goes over the summary. It gives you a vitality score, gives you the date, and obviously the priorities, the top 3 things that you want to look at, and again, some suggestions throughout the rest of the report. But wow, is there anything before we, end the interview that you might want to plug? I mean, in fact, take the floor and take the rest of the day if you want to. I don't care. I'm on my computer.
I mean, look,
I ain't gonna die.
Here's the main. Like, I'm a super simple guy. Like, if anybody wants to get in touch with me, my name's on the screen. Literally, I'm the first Alex Fredericks that you're gonna Google and find. You can find me on every platform there is, LinkedIn, whatever. I will say this, and I mean it genuinely. My OCD is I have nothing unanswered, legitimately. I have no unanswered emails, texts, DMs, nothing. I answer. I find it's like the least thing that I can do as a human being is actually reply to other human beings.
I agree.
I'm not a ghoster. I'm not a ghoster either, because I'll tell you where you can.
Yeah, same. I love that.
I mean, so like it's easier that way. But like, legitimately, here's the thing, and I mean this. Like, The opportunity in Tonewell, other than it like being just cool Buck Rogers shit, is that the reality of it is that we are all separated from ourselves. I've never met
Yes.
anybody that's not shattered. Seriously, we've all had our thing.
Yeah.
It's, are you willing to face them and put them back together?
Exactly.
So it could be your health, it could be your stress, it could be your sleep, it could be the way that you're interacting in the world. And what we all need to do is get a better understanding of who we are.
Yes.
I don't need
Yes.
you don't need the influencer to tell you what to buy. You don't need the world to tell you what's wrong.
Yes.
You don't need, like, believe me, there's enough noise in your head. You need a clean signal.
Yes.
And a clean signal starts with your understanding of you. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people, help them build their relationship with their selves. That's why I use non-diagnostic, non-medical. Yeah, I get it. I'm not a doctor. Cool, whoop. But I have partners that are, and they could be sitting here talking to you about them. It's not what it's about. It really isn't. I want to be a super successful company. I hope we one day are worth billions and billions of dollars. Fantastic.
You're on the leading edge, dude. Seriously,
right.
What's far
more important, and I mean this genuinely, and it's no hokum, it's no BS, is like the idea of helping people relate to themselves. You're not broken, you're shattered. If you put all the pieces back together, believe me, you're still beautiful, you're still able, you're still capable. You just have to come to grips with that something broke.
Yeah.
Right?
And honestly face it and look at it. And I love that because that's literally that's what my whole life's work is about. And even with tarot, I'm not going to tell you that this plane is going to crash tomorrow. I'm going to tell you what's going on, what the challenge is, and how we're going to move forward. You know? And,
amen.
And I love that. And that's what this whole world should be about. Tarot worked for me, but I'm not going to tell you it's going to work for you. But let's figure out how we can figure out what is going to because the only goal is to get back to yourself so that you can know that you're not this broken thing that you think you are. And so that you can move forward confidently.
So here's an interesting thing, and bring it back to some biblical here for a second. Recognize that Adam and Eve were only in the Garden of Eden for 6 hours.
Really?
Yes. 6.
For 6 hours is what you said?
6 hours. That is the reason I point that out isn't anything other than there's no such thing as ever lasting perfection. After that, we are all trying to put ourselves back together and get back to that point of perfection. So you should never stop working on yourself. You should never stop believing on yourself. You should never stop moving forward. So if Tonewell, TONEWELL.co, see, there was my plug. If Tonewell can be of any help, that's what we're here to do. Legitimately. We don't sell anything secondarily, by the way. I don't upsell anything. You want to go buy magnesium from CVS or a special boutique person? Cool. You don't want to listen to us? I'm sorry. But like, it's about empowering you. So recognize that there is no such thing as perfection. That is the myth that they put upon us because we were actually created and only in that state, again, without eating or consciousness, by the way, for 6 hours. 6 hours. So just don't put so much stress on yourself is the point of that.
Yeah, no, that and you're absolutely right. You're just that it's literally self-inflicted, the things that we do. And once we realize what they are, make an awareness to it, we start working our way away from that perspective of ourselves.
Amen.
Sure. I love that. I love you. I'm so grateful that you came on here. I think that's an incredibly valuable way, at the very least, a starting point so that you can be informed about what's really going on with you, what's really going on. Take this information to your doctor and say, hey, this is the reading I got. What do you think? And see what they might even say in terms of what you might need or what their take is, if that would help you feel more confident. But most importantly, don't just take what's being handed to you. Question everything, especially in a time where there's so much noise around us. Listen to yourself, your frequency, what you're exuding, because it is not happening to you, it's coming from you. Okay. So
Very well.
this is the beautiful Alex Fredericks. He's amazing. So many wonderful things he's got to do in his life, and now this amazing product, Tonewell. Tonewell.co is the thing. Everything will be in the description. Yeah, if there's anything else you want to say before we wrap up the interview, I'm just right now completely blown away.
No. Have a beautiful day and be kind to each other.
Yes.
Do me a favor, hug your dog for me.
Definitely, definitely.
All right.
Thank you so much and have a wonderful weekend. And we will definitely be connecting soon, okay?
Take care now.
All right, thanks, Alex. Bye.
Take care.